Remember when Oprah Winfrey went on CBS Sunday Morning and told the entire world she was done being ashamed of her body?
I left feeling humiliated and embarrassed, but not the least bit anger, not the least bit of anger or being upset about it. Because I thought, she's right.
And then she showed up months later, looking like a completely different woman? That conversation cracked something open in how we talk about weight, medicine, and women's bodies. And now, there is a drug moving through clinical trials that makes Ozempic look like a warm-up act. Researchers are calling it a triple hormone receptor agonist. The media is calling it the Godzilla of weight loss. And you need to know what it actually does to your body, especially if you are a woman dealing with hormones, inflammation, or fat that refuses to budge no matter what you do.
I was so motivated by shame that I felt I could not take the drug. I, who have been the poster child for I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, willpower, let's just get more willpower. If I couldn't do it, then I would be shamed and ashamed of myself for not being able to do it myself.
What exactly is Retatrutide? Ozempic and Wegovy work on one hormone, GLP-1. Mounjaro and Zepbound work on two, GLP-1 and GIP. Retatrutide targets all three, GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. Developed by Eli Lilly, this once-weekly injection is still investigational, which means it is currently available only inside closely monitored clinical trials. That has not stopped the internet from losing its mind over it. The glucagon component is the one that changes everything. Glucagon is typically the hormone that raises blood sugar, which is why sticking it into a metabolic drug sounds completely backward. But here's what the researchers figured out. When GLP-1 and GIP are already keeping blood sugar and insulin under control, the glucagon stops doing its usual blood sugar-raising job. Instead, it goes straight to work on fat. It tells your liver to burn stored fat for energy, ramps up your resting metabolism, and pushes your body into continuous fat oxidation, the kind of state you normally only see after weeks of fasting or intense exercise. Dr. David D'Alessio, chief of endocrinology at Duke University, described insulin and glucagon as pushing back and forth. And when you combine them correctly in one molecule, the metabolic output surges dramatically beyond what either can do alone.
Today, we're tackling a molecule that's generating a massive bust in metabolic and longevity circles. Yes, it's Retatrutide, Eli Lilly's triple agonist peptide. Now, this isn't another miracle weight loss shot. Many scientists believe it could mark the beginning of metabolic regeneration, a pharmacologic attempt to reset human metabolism.
The clinical trial numbers. The Phase 2 results, published in the New England Journal of Medicine and presented by Dr. Anya Jastreboff from Yale's Obesity Research Center, stunned the medical community. At the highest dose tested, participants lost an average of 24.2% of their total body weight in just 48 weeks. For the average person in that group, that translated to approximately 57 pounds gone in under a year, and the weight loss curve was still climbing at the end of the study. There was no plateau in sight. Most remarkably, every single participant at the 8 milligram and 12 milligram doses lost at least 5% of their body weight. That is a 100% response rate. That number is nearly unheard of in pharmacological trials. When Eli Lilly released their first successful Phase 3 data in late 2025, the top-line number was 71.2 pounds of average weight loss. And emerging trial data suggests the ceiling may be as high as 28.7% total body weight reduction. For context, bariatric surgery typically produces 25 to 35% weight loss. We are now in territory that was previously considered surgical only. What this means for women's hormones, specifically. When Meghan Trainor, an artist who built her entire brand on body positivity, debuted a dramatically different figure, and reports surfaced linking her to Mounjaro, the internet split right down the middle. Hypocrite? Health journey? That debate is still running, but buried underneath all of it is a biological story about women's hormones that almost nobody is actually explaining. Take PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. It affects somewhere between 5 and 10% of women of reproductive age. The root biological driver in most cases is insulin resistance. Too much circulating insulin tells the ovaries to overproduce testosterone. That elevated testosterone then suppresses ovulation, causes irregular cycles, drives hormonal acne, facial hair growth, and hair thinning on the scalp. Women spend years, sometimes their entire reproductive window, being handed birth control pills to mask the symptoms rather than addressing what is actually happening metabolically. Retatrutide goes after that biological loop at its origin. By dramatically improving insulin sensitivity through its GLP-1 and GIP pathways, it brings circulating insulin levels down. Lower insulin stops sending that testosterone signal to the ovaries. Sex hormone-binding globulin, the protein that neutralizes free testosterone in the bloodstream, climbs back up. And for some women, ovulation returns spontaneously for the first time in years. No dedicated clinical trials on retatrutide and PCOS have been published yet, but the biological case is built on an already large body of GLP-1 literature. A related study called the Periods Trial is currently testing tirzepatide specifically in women with PCOS. And retatrutide produces significantly greater insulin sensitization than tirzepatide.
Problem that we're seeing right now is people are throwing peptides at everything.
When you ask them what's in your peptides, 9 out of 10 have no idea.
For women in perimenopause, the estrogen drop doesn't just bring hot flashes. It physically reroutes fat storage from your hips and thighs straight into your abdomen. Visceral fat packed around your organs, churning out inflammatory molecules around the clock. That visceral fat drives insulin resistance and cardiovascular risk faster than most women realize. The glucagon arm of retatrutide specifically targets those visceral depots. And there is another angle. Fat tissue itself produces estrogen through an enzyme called aromatase. As adipose tissue shrinks significantly, the chaotic peripheral estrogen fluctuations that make perimenopause so brutal tend to normalize alongside it. The liver data nobody is talking about. Of all the numbers that came out of the retatrutide trials, the liver data is what made hepatologists actually sit up. Dr. Aaron Sanyal, director of the VCU Institute for Liver Disease, presented a sub-study showing what the drug does to fatty liver disease. At the highest dose tested, participants saw an 86% mean reduction in total liver fat by 48 weeks, and 93% of those patients brought their liver fat below the clinical threshold for fatty liver disease entirely. No other drug in existence, not semaglutide, not tirzepatide, not resmetirom, which is the only FDA-approved medication specifically for this condition, has produced numbers anywhere close to this. The part that went viral on TikTok. Now here's the story that completely took over social media. GLP-1 receptors are not just in your gut and your pancreas. They are wired into your brain's reward system, the same pathway that creates the dopamine response you get from food, from intimacy, from things you love. When retatrutide floods those receptors, it shuts down what many users describe as food noise, the obsessive background thoughts about eating that many women carry constantly. That silence, they say, is a genuine relief. But a growing number of people, both in official trials and in the gray market that has already formed around this not yet approved molecule, report something else happening alongside it, a flattening of emotion, an absence of enthusiasm. Some are saying the drug changed how attracted they feel to their partners. Posts in Reddit communities tracking the TRIUMPH-1 trial describe feeling unbothered by 99% of everything. Social media commentators, including Juan Zuniga and Bo Kuberg, have publicized this angle widely, framing it as a dark side of the drug that is being overlooked. Medical experts are pushing back on the simplest version of that story. Romantic attachment is a layered neurological process involving far more than a single dopamine pathway. And in clinical observations, many patients report the opposite effect, that losing significant weight and reversing metabolic disease dramatically improve their confidence, their energy, and their sense of self. That rebound in self-esteem often translates to stronger relationships, not weaker ones. The full picture on retatrutide's psychological effects is genuinely unresolved and is actively being studied. What you actually need to know right now. Retatrutide is not approved yet. Eli Lilly is projecting an FDA approval window around 2027, pending completion of their Phase 3 TRIUMPH Outcomes trial. which is running through 2029 with 10,000 participants and specifically monitoring heart safety. The trials recorded a dose-dependent increase in resting heart rate of between 5.6 and 7.5 beats per minute, and cardiac arrhythmias appeared in 4 to 14% of participants, compared to 2 to 3% in placebo groups. These are real signals that require real monitoring. If you are a woman managing PCOS, insulin resistance, fatty liver, or the metabolic changes of perimenopause, this drug, prescribed by a qualified endocrinologist with proper blood work and monitoring, could address the hormonal and inflammatory roots of what you are dealing with in ways that diet adjustments and current approved medications often cannot. That is a real and meaningful development. What it is not, anything being sold right now on Telegram, WhatsApp, or gray market compounding pharmacies. Those are untested chemical compounds with no oversight, no dose verification, and no monitoring for the cardiac and pancreatic risks that even the official trials are still measuring carefully. And one more thing, because we say this about every GLP-1 therapy on this channel, and Retatrutide is no exception. None of these drugs do the structural work for you. Strength training, adequate protein, sleep, and stress management are not optional accessories to this treatment. They are what determine whether you come out the other side with a metabolic system that actually functions better long-term, or whether you regain everything the moment the medication stops. If this video gave you information your doctor has never mentioned, share it. Drop your questions below. We read them all. And if you want to go deeper on hormones, inflammation, and what the research is actually saying about women's metabolic health, subscribe. That is exactly what this channel exists for.